Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty, A Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, as you can see. I'm joined today by Graham McGarry, and we're going to dissect Celtic's scintillating 3-0 win over Dundee United at Tannadice. Graham, 3-0 actually flattered Dundee United. It probably could have been, and should have been more.
I think that's the only thing Ange Postecoglou maybe be a wee bit not disappointed in, but I think easily, as you say, Tony, it could have been 6 or 7. With the chances. Kyogo had a rare kind of off day in front of goal. He missed kind of 2-3 chances. There was the Turnbull header, and then the Turnbull chance before he scored, where he kind of just let the ball hit off him. And in the second half as well, Abada late on had 2 really good chances as well. So, yeah, I think all in all, he'll obviously be delighted with the level of performance, but you just kind of get the feeling that one of these weeks there's going to be a kind of 6, 7, maybe even more. A team's going to be on the end of it, and
I know what week the Celtic supporters will want that to happen.
Maybe in a few weeks' time, but
build it up to January the 2nd. Yeah, but it's ticking along rather nicely for Celtic at the minute. And I was saying yesterday that I thought it was one of those performances that Ange kind of bangs on about, that they win with a purpose and a meaning, and they actually did it with also a bit of style yesterday, because Dundee United had the 3rd best defensive record in the league. Not up until yesterday, but they'd only conceded 4 at home, and kind of that almost doubled, Graham. So it's a decent result for Celtics, and also a very good performance with probably a team that he probably didn't expect to field beforehand. And there were a couple of months so Greg Taylor came back in, and Cameron Carter-Vickers came back in, Jota was out, Ralston was out, that kind of thing. So I thought Celtic handled the occasion and situation very, very well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we ought to be now, he's been such an influential player for Celtic, but it didn't disrupt the attacking rhythm at all. And I think the key to that was the 3 in midfield were absolutely sensational, I thought, yesterday. I mean, obviously we know Rogic with his goal, just incredible, but it was more than that. Ange kind of touched on this, but it's his body strength. It's so hard to get the ball off him. You think the ball's away from him, and he's got the big rangy style, and he just sticks out a leg, and somehow it sticks to him, and people just can't get him off the ball. His passing was great, his dribbling was great. Callum McGregor, I think, he's got to be in with a shout at Player of the Year. He's got to be. I mean, he's been sensational, and he sometimes goes under the radar a wee bit because he isn't the flashiest. But you look at his pass for the second goal yesterday, it was just out of this world. And then Turnbull, who I think he's maybe come in for a wee bit of criticism. I think he's looked a wee bit lacking in confidence in front of goal, which is something you would never say about David Turnbull. And I was worried about him yesterday when he missed that one, where he sort of just didn't put it in the net. I was wondering why he didn't just finish it. I think everyone was, and then he comes up with an incredible finish for the 3rd goal. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he meant that with the first touch, putting it over the goal. So I think that'll do his confidence the world of good. And Dundee United just could not get near them, even with Jando Fuchs back in, who's a good player, combative player. He just couldn't lay a glove on them at all. And I think that's where the basis was for Celtic to win the game.
You touched upon that. I thought Tom Rogic's goal was a thing of beauty. The more I see it, the more I think, wow, you can set that to music. He's almost gliding balletically across the field as he's cutting inside, and you know what's happening because it's a kind of typical Tom Rogic goal. But as you said there is nothing you can do about it because you're not knocking him off the ball, and you know where he's going. He's just drifting and beautifully weaving past people, and the finish is just it's textbook. You knew exactly what he was planning on doing as soon as he got into that position, and it reminded me from a different angle of the Invincible goal, the one he scored against Aberdeen in the cup final, where he drifted to the right instead of to the left. And produced a similar type finish. But I said before as well that this is Tom Rogic's best season in terms of displays for me and consistency. I think he's having a terrific season.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, as you say, it's one of the goals you can set to the Titanic theme. But it makes it look so easy. That's the thing. It makes it look so effortless. But one thing I would say, and I think Ange did say this after the game as well, the one area where he's maybe let himself down this season is just turning all his good play into consistently getting on the score sheet. And if he can manage to do that, on a wee bit more consistent basis, then, you you're going to have some player in your hands, and it's incredible to think that it was when I played in Qatar, maybe just over a year ago. The renaissance he's had at his Celtic career has been fantastic, and I think you can't underestimate Ange Postecoglou's role in that. I think Roger gets comfortable with him. He knows him so well. He's obviously coached him before, and he just lets him go and play. And he's getting the rewards for it, because Rogic is turning in these performances week in, week out. And as I say, if you can get more consistent goals as well, then how do you stop him? This is the problem for defenders. Because you look at that situation yesterday. There's 4 defenders between him and the goal, and in the blink of an eye, he's in on Mulgrew, and then the ball's in the back of the net. And he's just such a clever player, such a strong player. And sometimes I think maybe he doesn't really know what he's going to do. So it's difficult for the defenders to do it.
Very much so. I mean, Callum McGregor, Sean Martin on the Celtic, we wrote a lovely piece about Sean Martin being, he compared them to the Beatles, Paul McCartney, because they need somebody to orchestrate everything and be the leader and all that. And he finished off with a nice line that if he keeps that up, then Celtic will get back to where they once belonged, which I thought was pretty cool. But you are fast running out of superlatives for Callum McGregor, because he was absolutely outstanding yesterday. And you picked out the pass for the second goal. That goal kills the game, Graham. Celtic can relax after that, can't they, and play their stuff. But from the get-go, they were just at it yesterday. And Callum McGregor was just at the hub of everything, really. That was really good.
I know there's a lot of debate maybe about, where his best role is in the midfield. Is it sitting deep or is it a wee bit further forward? But I think you can probably put that to bed now. I think when he's got Rogic and Turnbull in front of him, having McGregor sitting there pulling the strings, I think that's where he's at his best. I think this season he's just been sensational. The consistency that he's shown. It looks as if he's taking that captaincy. And I think people were maybe a wee bit worried about him as a Celtic captain because maybe in the past he's not been the most vocal, and he maybe doesn't have the presence that a Scott Brown would have, but he's leading by example, and that's the type of captain he's going to be. And as Ange said after the game yesterday, he's the first one to take on the instruction and go out and execute it, and the players all follow suit. They all fall into line behind him, and I think he's proven to be a really good Celtic captain. He's driving the team on, and he just seems to be growing as a player every week. And I think even Scotland are getting the benefit of that. He looks sensational. He plays for Scotland as well. And I just think he's right at the peak of his powers at the moment, and playing really, really well. So, as I say, you can't, out of 3 in the midfield yesterday, all 3 of them were great. I feel like a wee bit sorry for David Turnbull because he's getting kind of overshadowed. But, McGregor and then obviously I think Rogic probably overshadowed the 2 of them.
I want to know what his songwriting capabilities are, Callum McGregor, because he can do everything else, can't he? You know
exactly,
what I mean? I want to see if he can write a good song. Now, something else that came up, Graham, I don't like to talk about it, but we're going to have to. Callum Butcher's challenge on Turnbull. You mentioned him there. I mean, for me, it's a red card all day long. We spoke off air, and I said to you, my take on it is that how can that be a yellow card if the referee has seen something? So it smacks to me that neither he nor the assistant has seen it, and he's just erred on the side of caution. Because if you've actually witnessed that, it's a red card. It's reckless. You're endangering an opponent, and you've gone in high with the studs up. I don't. You would say the same, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. At the game itself, in real time, it looked like a really bad challenge. We weren't 100% sure to seen it, but then when the referee came over, you saw him having a word with the 4th official and asking him, because obviously it took place just in front of the dugouts, and the both of them looked kind of unsure. So I think that's why. I think probably just didn't get a great view of it. I might be wrong, but that certainly from the discussion he had with the 4th official, I felt as if he didn't get a clear view and he was looking for a wee bit of help, and it wasn't forthcoming. So he's obviously, as you say, he's erred on the side of caution and shown the yellow card rather than the red. But yeah, with the benefit of hindsight and seeing it back, it's a red card every day of the week, and I would not be surprised at all to see him being cited for it. And I put in my report, I think Butcher's probably the most aptly named Dundee United player since Jean-Jacques Missy. it just kind of fits what he does, you know. So he's got a reputation for it. And listen, I don't want to call the boy out and you know, try and get him a kind of reputation for being a dirty player. But when he came on yesterday at 2-0, a few years in the press box said, just watch out here, because he'll try and maybe lay a marker down and, you know, get close to a player just to kind of say, you know, you are in a game. Because at that point, obviously, as we said, Dundee United hadn't got near the Celtic midfield.
Sure.
So I felt as if he was going to come on and try and make his presence felt. He certainly did that to Turnbull's shin. So, no, to me, I think it's a red card, and I think there might be a wee phone call for Hampden or a letter for Hampden coming his way just shortly.
Few comments coming in about the game. Scintillating performance, matched by the ineptitude of the officials. Wonder if the referee head will call in the offside given that we're in another shocking challenge. Yeah, I suppose. See, fantastic performance by Rab McCune. Everyone contributing what official performance for girls winning the cup. Yeah, I mean, you just see, you don't like to call people out, but I just feel that was a shocking challenge that somehow I don't think the punishment fitted the crime yesterday. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if he got a citation from Hampden. We'll watch that one with interest, Graham. But I thought actually it was Celtic's most complete performance of the season so far under Ange. I just thought from the get-go they were really, really at it. And you've already said that you can see another 6 or 7 coming at some point if everything falls into place.
Yeah.
And you said as well that Kyogo never had a good day in front of goal, but he still had a good day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, he still played terrifically well, you know. And as long as you're contributing, I think that's Andy's mantra, isn't it? You don't have to be scoring goals all the time. That might have annoyed him that he didn't score goals, but he still contributed yesterday, Kyogo.
Yeah, he played well. You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's the thing about Kyogo is he's obviously looking for that run in behind all the time. So defenders can't come out, you know. So when you look at the midfield problems that Dundee United had yesterday, I think a lot of that came from Kyogo's movement, because he was just opening up a big space in between the United defence and the midfield, and Turnbull and Rogic just dropped into those areas, and Forrest as well, actually, in the first half. And they had a field day in there. So Kyogo, yeah, I mean, as I said, he missed a few chances uncharacteristically, spit out. But, you know, as you say, his contribution to the actual performance, you know, you couldn't question it. He still was putting the hard yards in, and he was linking the play up very well too, you know. So it just wasn't his day, as you say, in front of goal. But yeah, I mean, the difference Kyogo makes to this Celtic team, you know, you can't put a value really on it. You know, like there is no harm to the other strikers at the club, but when Kyogo's there, the way he stretches the game and stretches the opponents, it makes life so much easier for the midfielders at Celtic as well, and it allows them the space to shine.
And he even conducted the choir at one point, I believe, Graham, when he ran behind the goal. He's just, you know, he's just a likeable wee guy, and the fans have really taken to them, and they love that kind of side to him, don't they?
He's infectious, you know, and I think, you know, what you can see now is there is a real bond between the fans and the players, and obviously Ange is a big part of that. You saw him yesterday holding up the scarf after the game and all that. I was a wee bit worried what I was going to say, to be honest.
I had that going through my head as well.
Just check that first, Ange, before you hold that. But no, it was a good moment, and you see the fans reacting to it. Yeah. And they're all in, I think, the fans with.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. And now, lots of comments coming in about Butcher's challenge. David Bradley, absolute disgrace. That's a few now. Butcher's challenge was at Christie's a few years ago. Studs showing, you know, that's 2 times this season. He'll have been crippled at Paradise up there yesterday. It's a disgrace. I think the majority of Celtic fans are like you and me, Graham. I think if he got a citation from Hampden, they would see kind of justice merited out, possibly too late, but you know, they would accept that. But David Bradley makes another good point here. Bonus was Scales coming on. Took his goal well. I know I got a deflection, but Ange mentioned him, didn't he? That he was an example to all the younger players coming in, and he wants people to come in like that and make an impact. And Scales certainly did that, didn't he? He made an impact when he came on.
He did, yeah. And I think in the performances when he has come on against, you know, he came on against Ferencvaros twice, and I think he acquitted himself well in those games as well. We spoke to him after the game, and just seems a really kind of nice, quiet lad, you know. Like he's getting his head down, he's working really hard, and Ange said that as well. He's been working his tail off behind the scenes, and this is the mantra under Ange, is that, you know, he'll give you a platform, he'll give you everything you need to try and succeed, and then it's up to you. And I think Scales is one of those who's come into the club. Maybe people have got low expectations because he came from Shamrock Rovers and the League of Ireland, but he certainly sees himself as being part of that first team picture.
Yeah.
And he's starting to get one or two opportunities, and anytime he's come on, I think he looks strong. He's quite quick, and he looks quite composed in the ball. I mean, the finish yesterday, it comes out to him at the edge of the area. He's a full-back, but it's a striker's finish. He takes his time. He's very composed, side foot finish. And then I don't think he really knew what to do after that.
I think there was nobody more surprised to see it at the back of the net than Liam. You know, because as you say, I'm a defender. I'm not used to this, but
exactly.
The thing that I like was that you said that it's natural. It was a side foot natural. Get it on target was probably in his head.
Yeah.
If I get this on target, I've got a good chance of scoring, and that's what happened. And I think he's got a right good chance also of playing Thursday night.
I think he will play on Thursday night. The only kind of qualifier to that would be I think Taylor needs games as well. So he may get a run out. But he might do 45 each or something like that. I don't know. But suddenly that's looking a wee bit healthier over there on the left side. And it couldn't have come at a better time, obviously, with Ralston being out. So because Juranovic can obviously just slot in at right back. And then Taylor, who I think gets a bit of a rough ride sometimes, I think he's a very good player, and I think his stats always back it up, that he's very productive. So having Taylor there and then knowing you've got Scales that can come in and look very comfortable as well, I think that'll be a real boost for Ange, considering, I think Celtic will be without Ralston for a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly missed Jota yesterday. Forrest and Mikey Johnson came in, kind of mixed bag for both, and then Abada came on and excuse me, missed a sitter.
Yeah, I mean,
which she thought was a sin. She should have probably have scored that, Graham. Is that a concern for you that they rely too heavily on Jota? Or guys like Mikey Johnston and Forrest just not doing enough at the minute?
I don't know. I mean, I think Forrest is still kind of getting back up to speed after his injury, but he's always a threat. He wasn't at his best yesterday and obviously came off with a tight hamstring at half-time, but that was just a precaution after the game. But, you can always rely on James Forrest. He'll always come up with, something. He's always a threat. Mikey, I think Mikey's got loads of potential, but, we have been talking about that for quite a long time now. Everybody knows these injury problems have been, terrible, and that's not his fault. It's been really bad luck. But I think the Celtic supporters, and I think probably Ange as well now, is wanting to see when Jota is out, a real kind of match-winning contribution for him, or getting among the goals, setting up goals. And yesterday, I just thought he was just a wee bit off it. He didn't quite have that wee final touch. But listen, maybe by running games, maybe 2 or 3 games, because it sounds as if Jota's maybe going to be out until potentially after the winter break now. He might get up to speed, and we might see something of the Mikey Johnston that we did see when he first came through, and that real kind of thrust and threat, and the way he goes past men. We've just not really seen that of late. So I hope that it can kind of show that in the next few weeks. But I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I mean, Celtic scored 3 goals yesterday. They could have done a lot more. Yeah. So, Jota's been fantastic, and of course he's a miss, but there is players there who can come in and more than adequately do a job until he's back.
No, we'll focus on the Real Betis game Thursday later on in the week, but is your temptation, Graham, to play a shadow side because Celtic are bigger 55 league-wise, or do you want to give guys game time, or do you want to just keep that momentum going and try and get a win? I know there's all sorts of permutations about the coefficient points and stuff like that for Champions League qualifiers coming up, but if you're Ange, do you give the fringe players their chance in that game?
I think it's a balancing act. I mean, I think there's going to be a temptation to, make wholesale changes, because there is guys in that Celtic squad who do need games. You look at guys like McCarthy, who needs a run out. Johnston, obviously, I would keep him in the team and try and get him up to speed a wee bit more. As we spoke about, Taylor and Scales and guys like that. Stephen Welsh will probably play, I would imagine. But there's got to be a balance, because I think Ange does want to see his team going up against a real quality outfit, and see how they handle it. So I think we'll see maybe 4 or 5 changes to the team, but I don't think it will be the entire 11 that will change. I don't think. In saying that, I mean, I'd probably take Kyogo out, because just to protect him, because the game against Motherwell on Sunday is much more important to Celtic's season.
Yes.
And they can't afford a slip up. So Yeah, I think
Is there such a thing as a dead rubber when you play for Celtic, Graham?
I don't know. Ange said all the right things about that yesterday, but of course they're not it's not a dead rubber, but some games are more important than others, and the real priority at the moment is getting points on the board for in the Premiership. So I think we will see some changes, but I don't think it'll be the entire 11. I think there is a balancing act there, and some guys do need game time as well.
I think that was very Ange-like, the way you approached that there. And on that note, everybody, thanks for your contributions, your comments. We always enjoy it, and we try and read as many of them out as we can whilst we're discussing everything Celtic. And remember, as you see along the bottom, if you're watching on YouTube, to subscribe to the Celtic Way for top quality journalism covering the club that you love. All it's left for me to say is have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And Graham, thanks for your contribution. Really enjoyed that.
No problem. Thanks for having me, mate.